Welcome back to the Movement is Medicine podcast. Dr. Gene Shirakarabad here with Dr. Megan Weezer, Dr. Corey. I can almost swing with two hands again. How?
And Dr. Nellie.
Hi,
I don't know
Nelly.
if they can. Oh, yeah, they can see Nellie,
Well,
Yeah.
kind of.
but they can't hear her.
No.
Well, not yet. Give it time. She might bark.
She doesn't bark
That's true.
very much.
That's true.
So, the other day, I was trying to list all the letters of the alphabet. And for the life of me, I could only come up with 25 of them. I don't know why.
What?
You don't get it? She doesn't get it. Take a minute. You can do it. There.
I don't get
don't-
it.
That's it. Still. All right. Just wait. Keep watching. We'll see when it finally sinks in
Yep.
for her.
For
What?
What?
I could only come up with 25 letters of the alphabet when I was trying to list them. I don't know why.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh my God.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. There it is.
I thought he was like telling a truth, not telling the joke.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Just sing the alphabet song.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah, you're trying to come up with strategies
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
I was like, I'm actually speechless.
Yeah, I believe the saying is you can't fix stupid Jokes.
That's fucking true.
jokes.
That's fucking
Jokes.
true.
There's a lot to unpack about that, but we'll save that for a different episode. We've been away for a little while, so we had a little summer hiatus. That means time off.
Who you talking to with that one?
All of you. We had a little time off, and now we're back. I still think we covered pretty much everything at this point on this podcast.
Okay.
Everything in the world?
Not
Everything in the world,
possible?
every single thing. Well, big topics. So I feel like
The big
moving
rocks?
forward, it's this podcast will largely be about us talking about our experiences in our roles and like situations that arise, and jokes. I think that's a good way to open it up. Sometimes the best jokes are stupid jokes, and there is
I resemble that statement.
God.
the resemblance is uncanny.
I'll be here
Yes.
all week. Actually, I won't.
No, you won't.
Nope, going back for Labor Day.
There is a couple things I wanted to talk about. I'm going to make a connection that's going to probably offend some people until they hear it out throughout. And I know the looks both of you are going to give me when I first say it. So just write it out because we're going to connect fitness and recharge to church and religion.
Oh, hell no.
Exactly. So stay tuned for that. But I do want to talk about, remember we a while ago when we first started, made the kind of the connection between speed bumps, roadblocks, and closures for how people typically approach or derailed from fitness and a lot of things in life that
Mhm.
a lot of times people have a speed bump, but they see it as a roadblock, meaning that not only slowing down, but they stop altogether. So I thought getting a little bit more into that on this podcast about motivation and friction points for why people do or do not maintain their fitness routines and some things that might present as speed bumps, but people really internalize it as a roadblock. So I thought that would be good to go over. And then we can kind of go into some of the stuff about making that connection with religion and fitness and how that they are parallel in a lot of ways for a lot of people, but they really shouldn't be. And I want to touch on that. So let's talk about motivation and not necessarily why people do things, but why they stop doing things. Because I think that's the most important thing. You know, fitness is about consistency. That to me is the only thing that makes it work, because it's about continually proving to your body that whatever you started should be ongoing, to constantly change that homeostatic environment. Otherwise, your body processes, internalizes, and establishes it as a new baseline. And therefore, no change is happening at that point. So you have to be consistent. You have to progressively load it. then you have to systematically kind of strain your system in order for it to adapt and constantly change and get better, which a lot of people don't do. So, what are some of the things that, in your experience, you guys have come across with people that they might start out with the best of intentions, gung ho, all in, but things start to happen and they get derailed? I mean, it could be anything physical wise, life wise, literally anything that might derail them a little bit. And then we can talk about some strategies that
Like
people
reasons
can
people
use.
stop committing to a habit.
Yeah.
I think, well, this is a timely podcast. Like school just started, so like a shift in routine, even the slightest shift in routine, because
Yep.
I feel like people don't know how to adapt,
Mm-hmm.
or like it becomes all or nothing, even with the slightest change in schedule.
Yep.
Like example, personally, I don't think I'm gonna have time to work out today, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna have time to work out tomorrow either. But now I'm thinking ahead and thinking, okay, well, I'll work out Saturday and like make up for the one lost day, or I'll go for a run in the evening when I'm home because I'm not going to have access to the weights and I need to get home to let my dog out, kind of thing.
Yep. 100%. I'm sure everyone that's listening right now can think of a situation they've done that.
But the step stops at, like, for most people, I feel like it stops at, oh, I don't have time to work out today. I don't have time to work out tomorrow. Oh well, ship sailed.
Yeah.
I give up, and then all of a sudden 3 months has gone by and they haven't stepped foot in the gym.
Yeah. They rationalize in the moment by passing to a future time of day. So like you appease your guilt by saying, well, I can't do it now, but I'll feel better if I at the very least tell myself that I'll go do this, in this instance, work out on Saturday, knowing full well you're just being a lying sack of shit to yourself.
But I'm not. I am actually going to work out on Saturday.
Yeah. You're still a lying sack of shit.
How?
For different reasons. We're talking about most people here. Most people.
I know, and I'm giving an example.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying
Okay.
majority of people, when they make that deal with themselves, know
Saturday
they
comes
are,
and they don't
yeah,
do
they
it. And
know
then, yes.
deep down they are lying to themselves
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
when they're doing that,
Right.
versus even taking a few minutes that is available to them and doing something in the moment, which, creates the other issue that we tell members all the time, particularly people that are starting as new members, is a lot of times when people say, I don't have time to do something, what they're really saying is, with the time that I have, I don't know what to do, which is one of the top reasons people don't do anything, is because the mental strain of coming up with something is much greater than the opposite, which is, well, I can do this other hard thing, but it's easy in the moment, even if it's staying at work, even if it's doing something they don't enjoy, but it's a lot less mental strain to do it because it's there. They know what to do with it. So, the answer to that is lessen the mental burden, the mental strain of coming up with something. So if you know there's something, whether it's a workout, obviously if it's members here, they can come in or even do something in the app. If they know there's something that's readily available, that takes away the biggest friction point. Not just the decision making, but making the decision and then having to create something from that decision. Like coming up with your own workout.
Yeah.
And then having to execute it and all those steps, which are, again, when you think about it, it's not that hard, but when you start to actually do it, it's pretty hard to come up with your own workout, especially on the spot. Right. So like most people will not do that. So having workouts in advance planned ahead that you can rely on and do, right? Like having your go-to workouts in worst case scenario, just even like simple ones. Like we did a podcast about our favorite movements, right? Like to me, that would be the suggestion. If you're not a member here, if you work out by yourself somewhere, is have like 3 workouts that you love and have those on like speed dial, so to speak.
Yeah.
That when you are having that conversation with yourself, well, it's like Wednesday or Thursday, I haven't worked out yet. I'll just start fresh on Monday because that makes absolutely perfect sense to your body, right? Your body's like, oh yeah, wait till Monday when the new week starts.
I don't need movement for 3 days.
Exactly, because our bodies think on schedules that we created as humans. So if you have those routines ready, then you're much more inclined to do them instead of think about how to do them in the moment. So I think that's definitely a good one. What else you guys got?
What about expecting results quicker than they come? um, like, or putting an artificial deadline of I need to lose X body weight or pounds or percentage of body fat in 30 days. And then when that unrealistic expectation doesn't get fulfilled, then they just give up and say exercise doesn't work for me.
Yep. 100%. That's what people do oftentimes with that is when they get excited, when they first get started, they visualize the end goal, right? They internalize the feeling of losing weight, and they have that mental imagery of here's how I'll be once I'm done, but they don't take the steps to think about the process of, because nobody does
Well,
until you
that's
go
where
through
the
it.
issue lies, right? Like it's an outcome-based goal, not a behavior-based goal.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, right? That the work to go in is never exciting. It's hard.
It's also more likely to like send the message to your body that you're like, or your brain and whatever, your nervous system, that you're failing if you don't reach that outcome, versus if it's a behavior-based goal, such as like hitting the gym 3 times a week. If you get to the gym 3 times a week, you reach that goal. Congratulations, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tangible.
Yes.
You can very clearly track it, and there's solid progress.
And it just creates a consistent and sustainable progress toward an outcome, if that's still in your mind.
Yeah, and the outcome becomes grounded a lot more in the journey as well, versus the other way around. The journey is for the outcome. So the more people do it, the more they start to enjoy that process,
right?
And then the outcome becomes a bonus at the end, versus the other way around. And that's why people get into these cycles of I'm going to lose weight, and they get very excited. They lose a little bit of weight, and then they go back to their behaviors, which never changed, and the cycle starts again. And that absolutely can be demoralizing and derailing. That once you put in that initial work with that burst, and then it all goes back, and you're like, well, here I am again, and looking at that's hard for people for sure, and we see that a lot. It's a good one. What else you guys got?
I think some people don't understand how hard of work it could be or it could take. They don't know how to respond to the stimulus. They experience a hard workout or something, and they're like, I don't think I like that. But they don't give it time to, like, a lot of things we don't like the first time around. And I think it's a high fall off rate occurs in the first month or so because it's so new and they're not comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. And sometimes training takes some uncomfortable into the scenario.
Yeah. I think that also kind of goes back to like figuring out, like when you do start something new, like for somebody who's falling off like that, I mean, there's a number of reasons that happens, of course, but like maybe the change they were trying to make, or the degree of the change they were trying to make, was just more than they could handle consistently. Like if you're trying to hit the gym 5 days a week and that's your goal, and then like you fall off after 2 weeks, okay, clearly that was not an achievable or sustainable goal for you.
Yeah.
Maybe start with 2 times a week.
I think the room for error when it comes to things going wrong is so much greater than
people think
the rate for success. You know what I mean? Like, I mean that
what?
The margins of people willing to stop with are so much more narrow than for success. Like if something goes wrong, people are much more likely to say, well, I knew it. I shouldn't have done this, or I don't want to do this, or it's too hard. That's a pretty good movement.
That
there.
was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Matrix.
It's like Mission Impossible.
like a puppy.
Right, like that soreness level, or my was going to be pain. You know, something comes up, people are like, oh, here we go again, or I knew it, or, you know, they feed into their innermost negative thoughts of, I knew this was going to work. I knew I couldn't do this. It doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. Versus people are so much less likely to see success and celebrate the wins, the little wins, right? They're so much more eager and willing to see all the negatives that happen, versus when a positive happens, they just blow past it and go, oh, yeah, whatever. Right? Like the little wins are so important, but the little losses are so much easier to see, just because of how our brains are designed to see loss in the negative more than the positive, right? There's so many psychological studies that are fascinating, but the main takeaway is people are more willing not to lose than they are to win, right? So we are more predisposed not to lose and focus on that versus focusing on how to win.
Is that just another way to say if you're not first, you're last?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Correct. And people want to be not last instead of first, right? That they're just so highlighted on that. So it makes sense that when they do something so emotionally and sensation driven, like workout and train, that everything else they're feeling is going to be magnified even more so, right? So if they have a workout that they're a little bit more sore at, every bit of experience leading up to that point will say, you should have known better. Right? You know, working out's going to do this to you and you feel terrible. Now, what they're not seeing is the few minutes they added to their life, right? The big picture outcome.
Yeah, a lot of people would rather have heart disease in 30 years than go to the gym 3 times a week.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, with not they won't admit that, but that's essentially what a lot of people are accepting when they choose to not be physically active.
Yeah. Or like have a fall and deal with those repercussions without training. But that's the crux of the issue, is that we are reactive based. We'll deal with something when the emotional peak is higher than the living threshold. I mean, this is how you live life. If that emotional peak supersedes that, then you're like, whoa, I have to do something because now this changes. For a lot of people, most of them see fitness and being active exercising, training as nice to haves versus crucial parts of living, right? If they have high blood pressure and they go see their physician, they're like, you need to be on beta blockers or whatever. They're like, oh, this is important for me to live. Or if you have diabetes and you have to have insulin, I need to do this. This is now critical for me. But people don't look at fitness and specific training in the same regard. And to me, that's more of a societal issue. That's a detriment that we don't teach our kids when they're growing up, that fitness shouldn't be just a grade you get in PE class, which is our biggest exposure to fitness when we're kids.
I always got an A.
Yeah.
You would.
I believe you. I believe you. I got an A plus. So.
Okay.
I think we actually had E's in.
What? What does
E.
that mean?
Excellent.
No.
No.
You just told your mom that.
I'm pretty sure in elementary school we didn't have
That's
A.
just right before fail.
Yeah.
No, we had I'm pretty sure it was like 3 letters, and
We had an S, and in like kindergarten it was like S or for satisfactory or something else if you didn't
I
pass.
feel like I didn't
I don't
get
remember.
letter grades until middle school.
I used to get N's on my report card for noisy, and that's not even a joke. Like it would say,
You?
yeah, I was
Wow.
a rambunctious little one.
Interesting.
Yep.
My, how the tables have turned.
Yeah.
How the turntables.
Scratched?
What?
He's trying to remix something over there. But yeah, like our greatest exposure early on in our developmental years with movement and exercise is at school and playgrounds, which doesn't happen as much anymore. But
kids don't think of that as physical activity or exercise or fitness. Not that they should either.
No.
Playing on the playground.
yeah, they don't, and
Yeah.
they shouldn't on the playground.
Right,
But that's how
right.
you start to build the kind of like the innate ability to regulate your body and
Mhm.
progress and achieve certain things with your body that's dependent on your body. Like when you're on the playground and playing, you either can or you can't, and you figure it out there. When you get to school, though, and you have a grade attached to climbing a rope or wrestling or whatever, even though those are best of intentions, and yes, we need to get our kids moving more. But when you create that system of you pass or fail based on your capabilities that are not really trained well, just shown a couple times and saying go, then there's a hierarchy that's created for kids about what movement is or isn't. Then it's no longer a fundamental of life and health. It's a grade that they need to perform at, which is not fair. And I mean, there's so many people that still bear those scars when they come here in their 30s, 40s, 50s of what elementary age fitness did to them.
Yeah, I was the unathletic kid. Like, well, I wonder if they were labeled that in first grade by their peers and they either consciously or subconsciously held on to that the rest of their life. How different would their life be if it didn't get graded on it at such a young age?
Yeah, exactly. Giving everyone a positive interpretation of not just their bodies, which everyone deserves, right, to feel good inside their body and their own body, but how just absolutely human movement is, that nobody owns it. It's available to everyone, and everyone has, at that age, the same access to it. Because all you need is the knowledge and support and the ability to move your body through space, right? That's equitable. What's not equitable is, again, who has access to that and the level of that education that to our kids. So, I mean, again, that's a very different conversation that we should have at some point. But scars of youth with movement is huge, and it still plays a role, right? There's whether it's psychological abuse when you're a kid, having emotional issues now, or a different level of psychological abuse about movement. People still carry that weight and scars about how they are perceived and what they think people perceive them as, which is, I think, one of the main reasons people don't do something is how they think other people see them and their bodies, which is a big issue.
Yeah, I think at least in the adult world, people care about what other people are doing far less than we assume.
Yes, I would agree with that.
People come
People
into
are more often in their own world than anything else.
Yeah, nobody cares what I'm doing over in the corner compared to everyone else in the gym. But that person may feel like everyone's watching them or judging them for doing something different than they are. But we've built a pretty good community here that I think embodies that, that it doesn't matter. Everyone's there for themselves, I guess, in our scenario, but I can see how it's intimidating.
That's called spotlight effect or spotlight bias, where you feel like everybody's watching you, and like anything else, they've done a good bit of studies on that, and nobody cares.
Nope.
Nobody
right,
pays
like
attention.
you're not that special. Like they don't care.
No.
Really though.
Yeah.
Like
No, but everyone is in the same boat, right? Like it's nobody cares, but they care differently as well, particularly here, right? Everyone understands the struggle, therefore nobody cares to bring down while you're struggling because they understand and they've lived it. So there's that connection of I've experienced it and I can relate, right? It's kind of empathy of one of the factors of empathy where you know exactly what the person is feeling because you've experienced similar struggles. So there's a powerful connection in that.
That's sympathy, not empathy.
There's like 6 layers of empathy.
I think empathy is experiencing it and sympathy is feeling bad for them.
No, do you have the reverse? Empathy, you can empathize.
Put it in the comments.
You can empathize with somebody having not experienced that.
I think you're wrong.
You can sympathize with somebody having had experience.
I think you're wrong.
I'm not.
Sympathy is your interpretation and feeling bad for what the other person experiencing.
I don't think.
Yeah, there's multiple layers. There's
layers to all of that for sure.
There's literally like 6 stages of empathy.
Ogres have layers.
They do.
Onions, and ogres.
Yes.
And cakes. Everybody loves cakes.
Okay, donkey.
Sympathy is more. Oh, well, this is wrong.
Boom, roasted.
Yeah. No. This is okay. Well, okay. So the very first thing says sympathy is more of a feeling of pity for another. Empathy is our ability to understand how someone feels, while sympathy is our relief in not having the same problems. When we relate with empathy, we give the other person space to feel their own emotions and feelings.
Yeah.
So I was right.
No, you weren't. Empathy is understanding. Sympathy is feeling for the other person.
Yes, but when you're talking about having the same experience, it's
empathy.
Sympathizing.
That's that's 100%.
I
not
literally just freaking read it.
I don't think you listened to what you just read.
Yep.
I don't think
you read words and interpreted it as your own bias.
As your own bias. Yeah. There's multiple layers of empathy, but you have to have the baseline is understanding what the other person is going through. Sympathy is just feeling bad. What else?
Yeah, that's how I feel, Nelly. She just sighed.
Couple more before we talk about fitness and religion.
Ugh, God.
Exactly.
Oh, damn it. I walked right into that one.
Yep. I empathize with you.
Fuck you.
Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Sympathy is feelings of pity and sorrow for someone else's misfortune.
Mm-hmm. We're moving on.
Oxford Dictionary.
Okay.
Moving on. Anything else comes to mind for why people would stop?
Why people would stop what? Exercising?
Sure.
Or
in
any
this instance.
good habit?
Did we talk about pain? Not really.
Yes, that's a good one. Pain, which probably... Well, I think that depends on the person and, like, your perception of pain. Because, like, for certain people, depending on their beliefs surrounding pain, it probably wouldn't stop them. But there's a subgroup of people out there that I think any feeling of pain, whether, regardless of incidence or mechanism, would stop movement completely.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's two sides to that coin.
Yep.
If someone says my knees hurt when I run, so I don't run, they're avoiding exercise because of pain, but they haven't considered why their knees hurt.
To their credit, though, that's largely the advice that's given to them.
Yep, it's not their fault.
It hurts when I run, and everybody's like, okay, so don't run. It's like, okay, that's no way to live, though, and also I like running, and I want to be able to run. That's not a solution to my problem.
Right.
Yeah. Pain is the apex of emotional bias, right? Like, you can make a case that pain is.
He's always got to try to, like, fluff up his sentences.
You mean verbalize and speak well?
You need to go to the intelligence store and get more brains.
Yes. Are you speaking to yourself?
I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making a note for yourself so you can understand
I
my
posted
sentences.
that last night
with
on my
words.
Instagram story because a 4-year-old said it once. I
Oh.
said, I'm going to say this to somebody. And Jahantop said, next podcast recording.
So shout out Jahanta.
Shout out.
So I had to slip it in there. It worked out great.
What are the main two, like, motivators for humans? Isn't it hunger and pain, or no?
It is.
I don't know. I've never heard that.
Mm,
Well,
I know
survival
what you
has
mean.
to be.
Survival is the number one
something.
thing. Well, the two biggest drivers are survival and reproduction. So you can make a case
I'm
for
not internally, but like if you are, I guess maybe
I know
I'm
what you mean.
picturing like
Yeah.
torturing somebody
Yeah.
and trying to motivate them to do what you want. You could starve them or hurt them.
I think it's pain and pleasure. Pain and
Interesting.
pleasure are the two main
Yeah.
drivers for humans, no matter what.
Yeah.
But with pain is, like I said, the apex, Megan. That means the top. There's a different word for you. There's nothing more emotionally stimulating, to your point, than pain, right? That is the one thing that biases us more than anything else, even pleasure, because that
Well, it's a threat to survival.
survival, exactly, it's danger.
Mhm.
So pain will always surpass
Or
everything
perceived
else.
as a threat to survival to our systems,
Mhm.
anyway.
Correct. And perception is reality in that instance, unless you have a system in place to check that pain,
Mm-hmm.
which 99% of people do not have. Most people feel pain and they succumb or they deal with that pain in the most emotional way possible. Now, stopping everything else is easy because literally pain is at the top, right? That is the emotion that overrides everything else. That is the top sensation. So it makes sense that when somebody's in pain, everything else can be explained away. I don't need to run. I don't need to exercise. I don't need to do anything because it will make pain worse.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, your brain goes, it will make survival less possible. So you're like, okay, right? It's a no-brainer, even though it's like instantly calculated. So you have to kind of go against survival instinct when you're in pain to go, I can do this. Movement is medicine. All these things that we talk about, right? And the reason we keep talking about it is because it is innately against nature, which is that's the cruel twist. Is pain is so natural and strong that everything else, even though will help with pain, comes secondary until you're proven that these things will help with pain,
I think
which most people don't get.
people don't know what pain is, or what the definition of pain is, or why we have pain.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people that I would talk to in the clinic is, a lot of them think pain equals something damaging is happening, and every time they experience pain, they're making things worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There was a time when I felt that.
Yeah.
And now when I feel pain,
Normal
the first
connection.
thing I do is not rest. It's like, how do I move this painful spot?
You
Like
experiment.
literally, like it's funny how like our systems like shift what we're like craving, right? Like there was a time when I would like
chocolate chip cookies.
okay.
No.
When like I remember feeling something in my knee once, and I think I was in PT school at the time, and I was just like, I'm gonna take a few days off entire. But now, if I feel that same knee pain when it still pops up, I think I got something going on there. Whatever. Like now I'm like, okay, what movements can I do to make this feel better? Like my body craves like adding load to that area. Now, obviously, this is like a very specific example. It, like when I fell and broke my wrist, I did not crave movement at all.
Yeah.
But like, so this is, take this with a grain of salt, obviously, but for non-traumatic, insidious onset, not even always insidious onset, aches, we'll say, like generally more often than not.
I can't believe you're giving me shit about sentences and you're using insidious without explaining what that means. Hypocrite.
You just like to fluff up your freaking sentences.
See, now you're deflecting.
And they don't make sense.
Just deflecting.
Insidious is a movie from like 2017 or
I
something.
thought I zipped him out of the conversation.
Yeah. He's eating his chocolate chip cookie. Wasn't that a scary movie?
Yeah.
Insidious?
Yeah. I like scary
You like
movies.
scary movies.
I
Yeah.
hate scary movies.
The first
Nope.
movie I ever went to by myself was Paranormal Activity.
No!
Actually, it was the second one. Paranormal Activity
That's
2.
not very good.
Yeah, it wasn't as good.
I've never seen him. Also, I've never gone to the movie theater by myself.
Yeah, underrated. I highly recommend. I've only done it once, but
In my sample size
Yeah.
of one.
I mean,
It's
I've gone to like a bar by myself, and I've taken myself out to eat by myself,
Well,
but I've
same
never gone
thing.
to the movies.
You go to
by
the movies,
myself.
you don't talk to the people next to you anyway.
Yeah, that's
so,
fair point.
might
Well,
as-
I do, but
Jersey.
Yeah, it's great. You get your own popcorn. Don't have to share.
yeah.
There's the reason.
Nope.
Now it's coming out. There we go. I get my own popcorn, cookies, and Coke Zero.
It's pretty good. Like I said, I've only done it once, so I can't. I'm not,
But
not
now
being
that you're
super
thinking
serious,
about it, you're like, maybe I should do it more often.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Movie theater popcorn, apex of food.
Really?
Callback. Apex.
Apex?
Um,
Apex Predator?
Yeah. No, I love movie theater popcorn.
Why'd you look at me when you said that?
I just want
He's
someone
like,
to
say
agree.
Something. Say something, Megan.
Somebody
I
agree.
dare you.
Movie theater popcorn is
With
good.
butter or
yeah.
no butter?
Whatever the golden liquid that they put on it is, because I don't. It's
Butter.
not butter.
Yeah.
The butter flavored oil.
Whatever the golden liquid.
You know, speaking of childhood traumas, you know, like when
It's like
you're a
fucking
kid,
dishwasher fluid.
probably.
Somebody just told me the other day that they're pretty sure it's lard.
Oh, I believe that.
I would believe
Yeah.
that.
It's like
You know, like
Because
when you're
it
a
keeps
kid,
and like doesn't go bad.
you
Right.
eat like crappy food, and you get so used to eating that crappy food that when you get an adult and you try like the real version of it, that it tastes
not good.
terrible to you.
cheeseburgers are that way.
Cheeseburgers, mac and cheese, like
I
you're like,
have not experienced
Mac and cheese
this.
is a perfect example. I do not like homemade mac and cheese.
What?
a lot of people are
Yeah.
like that because they grew up on
Let me-
Kraft mac and cheese.
Right, I grew up on Kraft. Let me clarify. I will eat it. It's not like I think it's gross.
Let me clarify.
But given
Please
the
bring in
choice,
mac and cheese if you're making it.
Kraft mac and cheese or homemade, I'll take a scoop of the Kraft.
Yep.
Same with cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
It's because it's loaded with preservatives. That's why.
But it's like
gonna
the
preserve
taste
my
you-
life. That's my theory.
But when you're a kid and you have that, right? Like you make that connection.
Oh,
and, like,
I completely
Yeah.
understand it. I just don't know that I've experienced
I
it.
hate cheeseburgers from restaurants. I've tried it multiple
Yeah.
times, and every time I get it, I'm just kind of like,
Oh no, I love a good burger. It has to be from a place with good burgers.
I went
though.
to what? I don't want to call any place out around here in case
Why?
we go back to those food review places.
Oh yeah.
But there's a local place that everyone's like, you got to have their burger. I had their house like specialty.
Kind of meh.
Yeah.
Was it
Where?
thick?
I want to know.
Yeah, it was thick.
I don't like thick
But-
burgers.
I like the meat tasted good. It was
Yeah.
just I don't know. It wasn't hitting the spot.
Yeah.
I love Five Guys.
Five Guys.
Five Guys.
Five
burgers and
Guys is
fries.
really good.
Great.
Good.
Great.
Actually,
burgers.
now that you bring up burgers, my mom's burgers are so good. I don't know what she puts in them seasoning wise.
Mhm.
But I remember going to like friends' houses growing up for like cookouts and whatnot, and thinking the burgers were so bland
Yeah.
Mm.
because my mom she seasons a big ass bowl of like ground beef and she puts all her stuff in there. But I think these people just bought like the frozen like patties
Yeah, sure.
and that's it. So like I was always like, oh, are burgers actually not good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of things. The connections you make with your childhood definitely carry over. Pain though. Pain is unless you.
Pain is you wanting McDonald's and your mom saying we have McDonald's at home, and the McDonald's at home is like a frozen cheeseburger. That's pain.
Oh, McDonald's at home when
Mhm.
they're just making the connection burger to burger.
Yep.
You're gonna say pain is you wanting McDonald's and your parents taking you to Burger King.
No, I'd take that.
Would you?
Yeah.
When was the last time you had Burger King?
Last time I was at Arundel Mills Mall. It's disappointing. I got chicken nuggets and it was not good.
I don't know the last time I had Burger King or McDonald's
I had McDonald's
or
3 or
Chick-fil-A.
4 years ago
Nothing.
when we were driving on a road trip, and like sometimes you just don't have anything available. except
Oh, I lied.
McDonald's.
We had Burger King on our way home from Cedar Point.
Oh, so recently.
Yep.
And did you get a burger?
Yep. Whopper with cheese, large fry.
When I was a kid and we went to Burger King more than McDonald's, I liked the Whopper more than a Big Mac.
I feel like we're derailing here.
I mean, welcome to our podcast. I mean, we're what, like 37 minutes in? If they're still listening, we can talk about anything at this point. There we go. We'll
I
get
have
to that.
things to do.
There's always things to do.
I like
Ain't
Hershey,
that the
the Hershey
truth?
pie from Burger King.
Never had
those
that.
are good. You don't like sweets though.
No.
It's like pudding consistency.
Ew.
You don't like pudding?
I
You
like
like pudding?
Jello.
Pudding or Jello?
Jello.
Jello over pudding?
Mm-hmm.
Megan?
What?
Jello or pudding?
Out of the two,
Yeah.
I mean neither, but pudding. But strong on the neither. Like if they were both here, I would just pass. Be like, nah, I don't want it.
I'd eat the Jello.
Did you make Jello growing up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jello was always what my mom made when I had a sore throat.
Hmm.
That and she would
With
get
whiskey?
me like little Luigi's Italian ice. What?
It's pronounced Italian ice.
No, it's not.
Wait, you didn't answer yet. Jello or pudding?
I'm thinking. I'm imagining two snack
Cups.
packs.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
And nope, you can have 'em. I would return them. Not like you.
Return to sender.
I used to try to get the entire thing of Jello out at one
Oh,
time.
yeah.
On
Everyone's
one
done that.
spoonful. Yeah.
100%.
That
There
was
you
always
go.
fun. Yes.
And you're
Yeah,
like,
zoom
if
in
I-
on that.
and you're like, if I bite down on it,
We only
do
have one
I pull it
camera
out of my mouth
today.
or my nose?
Yep.
Yep. But do you ever like shake your face with it too?
Yeah. Oh, this is probably why I had a bunch of cavities when I was a kid. If you,
This is why women live longer than men.
Pretty sure it's because of the Michigan water.
I would.
yeah,
You think what?
It's a Michigan water, but yes.
the
Yeah.
cavities?
Yeah.
I would swish the Jello in my mouth through my teeth until it turned to liquid.
Yeah, I've done that too.
That's
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
disgusting.
I've done that.
That's like 40 grams of sugar just
Yeah, swishing
Swishing
Hanging
through my
out
teeth.
in your teeth.
maybe not 40 grams. That's
and
a
then
lot,
didn't
but still.
floss.
Oh, I never
Probably back
flossed.
at that time it
It's
was
probably like
20
maybe
grams.
20. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, it's up there. But that's another one of those things where like there's only Jello, like the brand Jello. Anything else just absolutely tasted horrific.
Are there other brands? Well, there's probably store bought
there's-
brands.
Yeah,
or
I don't
like,
know if I've ever had a
like
store-bought
ShopRite
brand.
brand or whatever.
You know what is a good to make it a little bit more healthy? Carrie used to make these like protein pudding bowls, like a
Mhm.
scoop of whey protein
Yep.
and sugar-free Jello brand pudding with milk,
Yeah.
and then stir that together. She used to like the cheesecake flavored ones.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
she got that from an Instagram account that we both follow.
Probably, yeah.
I make the Kodiak.
Mhm.
Kodiak.
Yeah, I make the protein muffins.
Mhm.
Kids love it. You do.
Well, that mix comes like it has protein in it,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
protein
but you can
powder.
add, like, if you add so much milk or add so
Yeah.
many eggs.
Yeah.
But you don't. I love that stuff because you don't have to add that
No, but
extra
I
stuff.
put
I usually do.
I do
but
2 bananas, 1 egg, 3/4 cup of almond milk, sugar, and then the Kodiak protein
Mhm.
waffle mix, and it makes like 16 muffins, and they eat in the morning. They love it. Like it's probably anywhere from like 4 to 6 grams of protein, I would guess, per little muffin. So it works out pretty well. They like it. It's quick and easy. All right. I know I wanted to talk about religion and fitness, but I think I'll save it for the next podcast because we're
Or
already
never.
40 minutes in. It'll be good. I'll make sentences with words that are like big,
For no reason
And smart.
that no one understands.
superfluous.
Indubitably.
Definitely indubitably.
Oh my god! Stop trying to
In-
make yourself sound smarter than you
I
are.
don't have to try.
I have to try pretty hard.
But you do good with jokes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You do good.
You do good.
You do good.
I'm trying, Weez. I'm trying. I'm listening to your feedback, and I'm trying to sound.
No, I'm
stupid.
not saying sound stupider. Is that a word?
No. Well done. Well done.
That's funny.
Now I'm sympathizing for you.
I don't even feel it. It's just funny.
I don't even feel it. I feel nothing now.
Oh, the moment's
And
passed.
we are definitely back. We are definitely back. All right. If any of these, let's call it motivator.
You just say a
detriments-
lot of words without actually saying anything.
I
That's
think it's
my
because
point.
your brain has a hard time processing the connection of those words. That's why.
No.
Nope, I agree with Megan.
Thank you.
That doesn't say much. Mr. Jello Swisher.
You agreed.
I did.
Oh God,
We've
you're
all
so
done that.
cute.
Yep. So if these issues have been a detriment to your motivation, let us know. Leave a comment below. Also, let us know whether you would pick Jello or pudding, if you had to pick one. There's a lot of reasons not to do something.
I think I go pudding.
Would you?
Yeah.
That took a long time.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a tough
a big decision.
Yeah. I think I
Crunchy
go
or
pudding.
smooth peanut
You can
butter?
have my pudding.
Smooth.
You said what?
Crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
Smooth.
Me too.
Yeah, smooth.
Always smooth.
Me too. We
And
bought-
the natural.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, Jif.
He's
Jif has
very-
a natural, like, I just
Version.
look at the ingredients, and if
Yeah.
it says peanuts and salt, I'm in.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what I get.
Mine has to have partially hydrogenated oils.
Yeah. Like peanuts is the fourth ingredient
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
list. And a peanut. So that we could call it peanut butter.
Hi, Nelly girl.
We bought crunchy peanut butter by accident one time. Actually, the kids grabbed it.
I do
and
like
then I
it.
got yelled
Yeah.
at for buying it.
You
Even
got
though
yelled
they
at?
grabbed it off
Yeah.
the shelf.
I do like it. I prefer smooth, though.
Yeah. I'll eat it when, again, we
Yeah,
have a
it's
whole
not
jar of
bad.
peanut butter. But I think I feel like I would prefer it more like off a spoon than on a sandwich. I feel like it's kind of weird eating crunchy peanut butter when you're eating peanut
It's
butter.
good with,
and
like, a
jelly.
peanut butter and jelly. A little texture in there.
I like it with like apples or
Mm.
Apples is
I
apples
also
is
grew
peanut
up with
butter.
smooth, so.
yeah.
Mhm.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Tying it back to how we grew up.
In undergrad, I had a food account. Like a lot of people, you know what I'm talking
What?
about?
Yeah, for your card.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I lived
oh,
on campus,
okay.
so we
Yeah.
had 10 meals a week
Mhm.
plus a certain amount of money to use at the stores.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of irrelevant, but I would buy peanut butter because it was free. I mean, free.
Mhm.
And I'd just keep it by my bedside with a spoon in it
Yeah.
and like
Oh, for sure. I still do that.
take a bite
Spoons of peanut butter.
Yep. before bed.
It's a good snack. I'm in for
Can we have
that.
an ASMR episode?
No. Ah, God.
I think it'd be fun. Guess the food.
Oh.
Ah!
Oh, I like that.
No.
Put in the comments what foods would you like to see on an ASMR episode?
No one's still listening.
They are. They are. It's one of those things where you just can't look away or stop listening.
Like a car
Mhm.
wreck.
Yeah, exactly.
I
all right.
wait, I saw
Yeah.
a car on fire.
You saw a barbecue?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so insensitive.
Oh, I
That he
guess
saw that? I don't think that's insensitive.
there was nobody in the car.
Barbecue. I've never heard of that called that before.
Yeah.
I was on my way somewhere last
my
week,
God,
and
Nelly,
there was a
look
bunch
how
of
cute.
fire trucks, and they were actively like spraying water
Oh
on
my
the car.
gosh.
It was mostly put out. I didn't
Mhm.
see any flames, but there was still smoke, and
That's
they're spraying
scary.
water.
Where were
yeah.
you?
That's scary.
Somewhere near Columbia on 29.
Yeah, those are scary.
That's
Yeah.
really scary.
Fire is like my number one thing that I don't want to ever experience. You know, like of
Mm.
all the injuries, things you've had, like I was when I did my clinical rotation at Johns Hopkins Bayview in the burn unit,
Oh yeah.
the things that I saw there, like still,
Oh yeah.
like I don't get squeamish. There's nothing that can make me squeamish. That was the first time I ever felt squeamish
Well, it's like
about
some
anything.
serious wound care, and they like smell.
I saw a firefighter that had like 70% third degree burns. That,
Oh God.
you know, survival rates like
That's
less
brutal.
than 5%. It's,
Yeah.
so I think I told you guys a story about the dude that had the tip of his penis burnt off.
I
From a,
don't remember that.
I don't recall.
story.
really?
Yeah, I feel like I
No.
would remember that.
All right, stay tuned for the next episode. We'll talk about that and the religion and fitness. It'll be perfect.
Tie it all together.
All right, make sure you subscribe, follow along if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to. Subscribe there as well. We'll catch you again on the next episode.